What is the first thing I would do? Would I go to LinkedIn groups?
Not everybody has all the answers. You don't have all the answers. Credit is a big deal. What you're doing is you're sending up numerous signals.
When you take time to intentionally build relationships, there's not just one opportunity. There are many opportunities. So it's not like, oh my God, if I don't get this right, this is horrible, my world ends. So if we were to break that down even more, let's say I'm a beginner creator, right? And I'm using LinkedIn platform. I've started creating content. I could be a side hustler, or I'm just trying to soloprenneurship for the first time. And at first, it's not even like, let me build this network to really get to know more people so I could have a better network. First, it's just, hey, where can I find my community? So let's say that is the case. What is the first thing I would do? Would I go to LinkedIn groups? Would I just randomly go through profiles and message random people to get on a Zoom call? Like, what would that look like?
So in terms of practical steps for like LinkedIn, this also works on Twitter, but for any, let's say, given online community, I call it the lucrative strategy of lurking. You kind of just sit and just read, and maybe you do you're a little bit more intentional in your research. Say like, okay, I want to be reading stuff that's like real estate oriented or medical technology oriented or financial oriented. And so then identify, I don't know, 10, maybe 15, 20, maybe, people who you've read some of their content, you've enjoyed some of their content, you found some value in it, and say, I'm going to try to now interact with this content on a consistent basis. Get up in the morning, scroll. If you got 10 minutes in the morning, leave 2 or 3 comments. As you're in a building phase, you should be leaving more than cool post, bro. It should be
great post.
Great post. I mean, like at some point you may, like if it's your friend and like, or somebody you don't have to write them an essay. They know that you're supportive. You'd be like, hey Rachel, hey Tom, awesome post. I love this, heart emoji. And they know that you're there. But as you're in the building phase and you might be new, ask a question. Hey Jen, this was an interesting post that you wrote. Could you elaborate on this?
I request elaboration.
Or I'd love to hear more of that story. Or, Suzanne left 10 tips marketing and I've tried tips 2, 4, and 6, but I didn't try tips 1 and 3 yet. I'm going to try that and come back. Like these are all on-ramps to conversations. And what you're doing is you're sending up numerous signals at the same time. And like, I'm a big fan of sharing. And for people who are on LinkedIn, there are always people testing out the algorithm.
Right.
Some of the influencers, some of whom are good friends of mine, always testing the algorithm. And there's always a pecking order, video versus all text content, blah, blah, blah. And always at the very, very, very bottom, always is don't share content.
Yeah, I've heard that a lot.
Because the algorithm will ding you, right? And it's not like
on LinkedIn, that's what they say. Do
not
on
LinkedIn. It's like, and it's not like don't share to be a jerk. It's like don't share because the algorithm will suppress your reach. The only times I've ever gone viral were when I was sharing content. And I mean like really viral. I woke up and it was like, bam, 50,000 views, 80,000 views, 100, 500,000 views. I did like 1.7 million views over like 10 posts that I was just sharing. And it was nuts to me. Here's some things people need to understand about virality. You don't wake up with $300,000 in your bank account just by virtue of going viral. Okay. I've gone viral. It's like a huge ego boost. It's a lot of fun and it stops. It's ephemeral because algorithms change. And then you go from 400,000 views to 40 views. 100 views,
Yeah.
And you can't be.
That's a reality. That's a reality. Yes. And people need to hear that. Yes.
And if going viral, and this is what I tell people, like, you don't come to me to 30x your follower count. I'm not the person that you hire or bring in to talk to your team when you want a 30x your follower count or double your sales by the end of the quarter. I'm the person you come to when you say, hey, I want to learn how to get in front of this person or this organization or this demographic. How do I do that? Because once you're in the room, things change.
Right.
And what I tell people is like caliber over quantity, because looking at my follower count, like on Twitter is a great example. On Twitter, my follower count's fairly unimpressive. It's unimpressive to me, but if people take the time to then look at who those followers are, then it starts to become pretty serious. Then it's investor, journalist, senator, state representative. I mean, just the tactics that I teach people, things that sound really ambiguous, but work, they're ambiguous until the day they work. And then it's like, oh, not so ambiguous. So things like patience, value creation, showing up and being empathetic in a way that's not everybody has all the answers. You don't have all the answers. These are industry agnostic strategies. It's worked for me building networks in the music industry. It worked for me building networks in the tech industry. It's worked in politics. It's worked in publishing and journalism. Like, it doesn't matter. I want to go back to sharing content. Even though people talk about the algorithm dinging you, it's so important that people understand this. First, if you're going to share content, credit the person at the very top. And if they are taggable, if they've made themselves taggable, tag them.
Right.
Okay. And say, this was a great article, or Rick did a great post on marketing or on sales. And then write your little piece, right? You give your little add-on, but credit at the very top. Credit is a big deal. If you don't take the time to do that, you're shooting yourself in the foot for no reason. Because if you do it right, it doesn't matter if 100,000 people see it. It only matters if that one person sees it. And what you've now done is you've sent multiple signals simultaneously. You said, I read your content, I liked it. I engaged with your content. I found value in your content. I'm sharing it into my network. I'm telling other people about you, right? I'm giving you credit, and I'm doing it in a way where maybe I write a little something, a little question or a little story that allows you to now write more content, maybe responding to the story or answering the question. You've created numerous on-ramps, potential on-ramps. It doesn't matter if 50,000 people see it. It only matters if Rick sees it. And oftentimes it's been pretty successful for me as a strategy, but it's long-term.